go. Shall we just go ahead and start a minute early?
That's fine.
Okay, good evening and welcome to, excuse me, 2025 version of candidates night. Can't get too close to it. I'll get too close. 2025 candidates night. This is an FHPOA event provided for the property owners on behalf of the POA and the staff. That does not apply to any board member or any of the board or staff of the community property owners association staff are endorsing any of these candidates. So again, my name is Pat Dumont and Jennifer Grenada's right here with our committee manager. If you have your card, she's on.
We know Jennifer.
This is your stock copy. We only got 30 seconds left. And then Al Ashar.
Turn off your cell phones.
Oh, yes, please turn your cell phones off. I have to do that too. Every time. So I have to vibrate for us. More volume. Speak up.
Yay, Celtics won. Yes, we're not turning our cell phone off. That's cute. Great job, Will.
So anyway, standing up on the little platform in the back is Al Ashar, and he is videotaping this whole evening, including all these little wonders we're doing here. And you'll be able to see everything on YouTube, and whoever can't make it tonight can see it on YouTube. Day or two, Al, usually. Uploaded
Will be available by Monday.
by Monday, okay. Great, thank you for that. One of the things that we wanted to cover tonight is civility. We want everyone to be respectful. Please ask your questions civilly, answer the questions civilly, candidates. There's no need to be mean or nasty or let's just be polite and be civil. Let's be nice to each other. We can disagree all we want, but we don't have to be in a nasty way. So the procedures tonight are, each candidate will have up to 5 minutes, Jennifer will time you, to explain your platform, say whatever you want to say in your introduction for the first 5 minutes. And if you're getting close to your end of your 5 minutes, Jennifer will wave the little green or yellow flag, 30-second warning. And at the end of that, she's throwing the stop sign and she's stop talking. Then after the candidates have made their opening statements, we'll open the questions to the floor, questions and answers. And there will be a line, where are we starting? Over on by the kitchen? Oh yeah, who's doing the line with the questions?
Who does the line of questions?
Okay, so we'll line up at the back and then come up to the marker and we'll provide a microphone for you. We'd like you to introduce yourself, put your name, where you live, and then ask your question. Please keep the question. No speeches, no rants, just a simple question. Keep it as simple as possible. That way the candidate that you're asking, or all the candidates understand exactly what it is you're asking. Sometimes questions get so convoluted, you have to figure out was there a question in there somewhere. So please try to be concise. So you have 60 seconds to ask one question. and the candidates will have equally 60 seconds to answer. If you have a specific candidate you want to ask the question of, that's fine, but the remainder of them have the, if they choose, they may respond to that same question. 60 seconds, short. This way everybody gets all their questions asked. After the Q&A session is finished, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to do a wrap-up. Again, Jennifer is the timer on that. Again, let's please all be civil, no jeering, booing, or other bad behavior. It will not be tolerated. Anyone violating this will need to leave the building. We don't want that to happen, so please, let's be kind. So let's meet the candidates. Allegiance. Sure.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anderson. And you stand while you're speaking. Candidates, can you stand again? Okay.
You need to turn it on.
I was hoping they were going to go by the first name initial. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Wayne Anderson. Yes, I consider us all neighbors, no matter where we live, in Fairfield Harbour. And I would hope that we can be friendly too. I decided to run for the board of directors, believing that my 33 years in the HOA, POA business, and also living in the HOA, POA community with Joan for another 30 years, given me the experience and expertise to be helpful in resolving some of the problems facing this community. You see, I understand that while our POA is a business and should be run with good business practices, it is a people business, unlike any other. This is where we, the owners, pay the POA to provide us with the services we want. It is managed by our elected board of directors, which should report to us, but hasn't. In the past 2.5 years, it seems that some directors and their appointees have made major decisions causing divisiveness in the community. These decisions slowly stripped our rights to shape the community's future. A house divided amongst itself will not stand. Yet, it didn't have to be that way. North Carolina Statute 47F, which we have to operate within, does not permit our board of directors from holding an election for any reason that it wants to. In fact, 2016, the board conducted a special meeting for the purchase of the 385 acres, and all 2,800 lot owners were asked to vote. The motion was approved with a 76% majority. Well, last year, instead of 2,800 lot owners voting on the $6.5 million clubhouse, only some directors and their appointees voted for it. Then they included a commitment of our annual dues to a 15-year obligation to pay for that clubhouse. I believe the divisiveness began when 7 directors approved selling part of that same 385 acres for patio housing. It was a surprise, and the opposition from the community caused the board to temporarily table that matter. Rest assured, if the opposing candidates are elected, that matter will come off of the table, be reactivated again without your vote. And don't you think if the board had allowed a vote last year on that clubhouse, the current situation we have here in Fairfield Harbour would be different? Their failure to act in the community's best interest began with the clubhouse approval and our 15-year commitment on the annual dues to repay it. And then it culminated in a lawsuit caused by their decision that took away our ability to recall the director. And then they sent us an assessment of $50 to pay for their defense. All this needs to change. The divisiveness must end. We can do better. I've done it. We will treat you when Lee and I are elected. We will treat you at our open meetings with respect. We will keep everything transparent. We will provide information on a regular and timely basis. The idea of keeping the community involved will be a mainstay throughout our term on the board. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I talk a little faster than Wayne does, so buckle up. I want to thank everyone in the room for coming here tonight. Right now, I'd like you to ask yourself, honestly, why did you come here tonight? If you came tonight in search of a better community, unified and moving forward together, please vote for Wayne and myself. If you came here for a circus, we might have that too. Things have been published that misrepresent us on a lot of issues. Many are Facebook posts, quoting anonymous sources or blatant speculation. And without honest information, the rumor mill prospers, speculation prevails, and Facebook wins. Unity can beat Facebook. We will address all issues face to face tonight. Please ask, you can decide. I honor the achievements of past boards. We've gotten out of past financial trouble, steered through, recovered from Florence, purchased a defunct golf course, and turned it into beautiful green space. More recent accomplishments have been pretty, but also divisive because the community was given no voice in them. The board acts without support from the members. The members should vote. That is what's dividing this community. We now own a billboard at Broad Creek and 55, and we have a clubhouse under construction. We have long-term contracts for services that are important, but the liability is not disclosed in our financial reports. I honor the achievements, but I'm critical of the way they've been accomplished. I'm also critical of our current financial reporting. I honor those achievements, But Wayne and I believe the community should have been offered an approval vote on any project as expensive as the Harbor Club. We believe that any borrowing should have been approved by a majority vote of the members. We believe that the community should have been offered a vote before purchase of the billboard site. We see that recent boards have operated in secrecy without knowledge of the members. It's easy to hide in executive session. It's easy to hide behind, quote, the bylaws don't require it, unquote. The bylaws don't prevent it either. We need more open meetings, less secret executive sessions. The right thing to do is to believe in the members. Our members deserve a vote. Any issue can be presented to the members for a vote. We pledge truly open meetings and minimal use of executive session. The current board is paying Troon to manage our two flagship assets, our golf course and our restaurant. Both are losing money. When they fail to make a profit, you as members pay the deficit. That needs to be fixed, but it does not need to be fixed by closing either the golf course or the restaurant. Repairs and major maintenance have been neglected. We're concerned that our obligation to pay a big first mortgage on Harbor Club and other long-term commitments will push the money aside or could consume the money that's needed for those long-term maintenance issues. Wayne and I bring 40 years, that's 30 for him, 10 for me, I'm a rookie, of combined experience on other boards. We've seen problems solved. We know how to communicate with our members, and we know it's not by just sending messages to our members. We believe our members are both our customers and our shareholders. We plan to honor both of those relationships. It'll take some time to repair the damage that's been done. We're going to be asking for your participation along the way as we move forward. Please step up when we need you. You can learn more about all this at fh-unity.com. So, trusted information, not speculation and rumor. Major projects, members vote. Borrowing money, members vote. Honest, understandable financial reports. Member participation. Open meetings, open records. That's what we're about. Let's get to work together.
Hi, my name's Deb Harris. My husband and I moved here 3.5 years ago with the intent of this being our final home.
Can you stand up, please?
I can't. I'm just getting over a broken knee, so if you could just bear with me, it would be so appreciated. I can at least walk right now. My husband, as well as many others that live here, has served in the military during a time of war. He also served for 30 years on a busy New England fire department. His life sacrifices have gone into our home here. For us, we want to be in a community where people are not only civil, but share many of the pleasures of later life that are so important. Peace where we live is among the most important to us. I joined this board 9 months ago after the resignation of far too many good people, and now we can include our current treasurer in that list. Serving on this board is difficult. I believe we all do what we feel is in the best interest of the community at large. It's a diverse community, not only in age and income, but also lifestyles. I truly believe each member of this board, past and present, have joined the board with the intent of doing the best they can to serve the community. Looking in the rearview mirror, we can all find fault. This is going to do nothing to move the community forward. I was brought up to believe that if I wanted something, I needed to be prepared to put myself out there. So here I am doing just that. I've actually enjoyed the work that I have had the opportunity to do while on this board. I've dug through mounds of insurance documents and reviewed coverages in place. I've met with our insurance agent to make sure we were covered with as few gaps as possible. In this litigious society we now live in, this is all important. After obtaining quotes for the builder's risk insurance for the new Harbor Club and feeling the pricing was too high, I was able to work with the builder's insurance and save the community a little over $30,000. I feel it's important that the board members be as involved as possible in the community so that we can better understand the challenges. There will be a lot of work needed to properly ensure the Harbor Club when the construction is complete. We will also need to establish an operations plan, which is going to entail vetting caterers and determine how will the building best serve the community. Will we put in a library? Will we set up a game room with a TV and a pool table? We have many options we can pursue. And what are we going to do with the old community center? Do what we want to keep it for overflow, or do we want to look at making a gym out of it? I also understand there have been a number of inquiries to lease the current POA office building, which will make that a revenue-generating asset. What would it be like in the current activities building to maybe have a massage therapist, maybe a nail salon, even maybe a room for crafters to lease and sell their crafts? We're not a golfing, boating, tennis, pickleball, bicycling, or golf cart community. We're all of those, and to some of us, it's just where we want to be. Until the residents of this community begin to respect the different factions that live here, I don't see it becoming a peaceful place to live for any of us. How can we, as a community, better come together and make this beautiful area we live in, where everyone is loving their life here? It seems to me it's time to start trying. What can we do to help make the community better and help heal the division? The board can't fix this. This is going to take everyone's positive attitude and a true willingness to work together to make Fairfield Harbor the very best it can be.
Why are they splitting up?
I'm fine.
Deb and Neil.
Okay. I'm going to read part of this, and then Jennifer's going to tell me how much time I have left, because I like to talk and ramble. So if I read it, I'll
Don't
keep it
talk and
short,
ramble.
whatever time left. I'll stop. My name is Bob Martin. I'm running for the Board of Directors and Property Owners Association because I believe the community deserves leadership, rooted in integrity and faith. Like many of you, I care deeply about this place we call home. I have seen firsthand the challenges we face, whether it's ensuring transparency in the decisions, maintaining our shared spaces, or fostering a sense of trust among neighbors. I am here today because I believe that by working together, guided by strong values, we can overcome these challenges and build a stronger and more united community. I run my life based on two values, integrity and faith. Integrity, doing the right thing and nobody else is watching. If elected, I promise to be open and honest with every decision. I will listen to your concerns, communicate clearly, and ensure that our association's actions reflect the best interest of all members, everybody that lives out here. Faith for me is about believing in each other and in the future we can create together. It means trusting even when we disagree, we can find common ground and move forward with respect. My faith inspires me to serve selflessly, to treat everyone kindness and lead by example. I know leadership is not just about making rules, it's about building relationships. I want to create opportunities for us to come together, share ideas, solve problems. As our community, I will advocate for fair policies, responsible budgeting, and improvements that benefit all of us again. I've got 2 minutes, okay?
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. 3 minutes, okay, I'll use 2, that's pretty good. A little bit about myself. My background, I grew up in a family-owned business. I basically started in the corporate world at about 8 years old. Got tired of the family business. We own 13 service stations, have our own oil company. So I went in the military, thought it'd be a good place to change things up for a bit. I spent 33 years of my life serving in the military. Served in military intelligence, served as a combat medic, served as an operations manager in civil engineering, served as a logistics specialist. I have all my pedigrees and documents if anybody wants to see them. That's irrelevant. When I got out of the military, I became a mayor. I was a mayor of a small village for about 4 years, if I remember correctly. A few other things in between. The key point that I want to make is I served on your board of directors out here. I was doing this in 2019. I got on the board in 20, and I resigned from the board in 2021. One of the reasons that I resigned from the board, the biggest reason I resigned from the board, and the board takes a lot out of people. One of the things that I lost at that time was my faith, and the reason I lost my faith in myself, being able to do the job that we need to do as board members, is my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic cancer. Okay, she's terminal. So at that time, I figured I better spend as much time as I can with my wife. That was 4 years ago. Colleen, are you here somewhere?
Yeah, Colleen.
My wife in the back. She's one of the ones that inspired me to run again. She goes on day after day after day. I've lived out here 7 years. I've met wonderful people in this community. I've met very inspiring people in this community. There's a young man named Eric that lives out here. If you ever see the Wounded Warrior ads, Eric's in the Wounded Warrior ads. Talking about some of our young individuals that live out here. There's a young girl named Cameron. Her parents live out here. She's lived out here for about 7 or 8 years. She just got elected as the president of the Honor Society for one of the big schools down here in Newbury. 30 seconds left. So there's a lot more. I want to leave it out there because I want to give you guys time to ask me questions. That's truly why we're here tonight, because the board needs to answer your questions. So ask me any question you want, and I'll be as truthful and as honest as I can be, because that's me. I have integrity. I don't hide things. I don't lie about things. I'm done.
Great job.
Hi, good evening. My name is Neil Watts. I have a weird accent because I come from a land from the deep, deep south. And I've been asked to speak very slowly. So it's not because I have mental problems that I speak slowly, it's to help you understand what I'm saying. What I'm going to do is I'm briefly going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about the situation we find ourselves in, and then I'm going to dive into some things that I'd like to do and see in the community. I'm a solution-driven person. I've spent 30 years in the Navy, and so I like to use the Navy planning processes to solve problems and to work out the best courses of action. I know the veterans sitting here will know what I'm talking about when I use an appreciation to determine the best course of action, and then I'll work out what we need to do to achieve that. Okay, so I've told you I've been in the Navy for over 30 years, of which nearly 20 was at sea. I've sailed in every ocean that there is on this globe. So I have a lot of experience working with men, making decisions that men's lives depend upon. I've been in incredible storms. I've watched my life pass in front of me, and I stand steadfast in my faith. So after the Navy, I moved to New York, where I was appointed at the United Nations to monitor North Korea. That was my job for 5 years, I'm retired from the Navy, but I still work because I'm involved in national security areas, things such as maritime security, non-proliferation of weapons, and sanctions, especially North Korea and Iran. Okay, so we moved here to live life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, because we really believe in that. The American dream. The community has just recovered from Florence and was entering into the uncertainty of the pandemic. We were not able to meet the residents of our street. However, they made a plan. We each had a picnic at the end of our driveway, and we shouted to each other across the street, and that's how we got to know each other in the depth of COVID. So we are strangers. We were strangers, very far from home, no support base. But you know what? The community became our family, and we become very close to the people in this community. And I know many of you are in the same situation. You came from near and far, and you made new friends here, and you made a new family here. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to run. I feel that I must stand up for the very community that is our family, and graciously open their arms to us. I'm not a very emotional person, my wife will tell you, but it brings a lump to my throat when I think about this. So our neighborhood is more than just homes, it's a diverse community of people from all over the country and the world, in fact, enjoying shared activities and connections that knit us together. Our community has survived the many challenges, and yet our community spirit has remained resolute. The last year and a half has been turbulent and chaotic. To me, I know exactly where the division came from. This period has seen the harbour divided into two factions, the angry people and the non-angry people. There is this constant online bullying to the point where many do not want to post anything for fear of waves of attacks and abuse. Even the POA staff has been bullied and intimidated by angry residents to the point that they fear for their safety. We have actually had 4 employees quit because of harassment by some residents. Even our treasurer has resigned because of constant harassment. I know exactly where that came from. People have been reluctant to even put out signs because of what happened in the last election, where people's lawns were torn up if you had the wrong sign. Now we have a community filled with kind, thoughtful, and talented people. They deserve better than to live in a hostile environment, walking on eggshells, fearful of saying anything. Now, to this end, I pledge to serve this community with dedication and optimism with 5 commitments, and they're on our website. Champion transparent communication and inclusive decision-making, proactively maintain facilities and plan cost-effective projects, and there are many ideas that we have. Our preference is to talk to people face to face, to foster unity and by creating opportunities for neighbors to connect, ensure fiscally responsible budgeting, and lastly, to remain adaptable and responsive. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, ready for questions? If you have a question, there's the first one right there. There's one
Wow.
behind. Everybody there, raise up their hand.
I mean, that's amazing. The number of people that stood up at the same time. I know. Yes.
There are more people standing in line questioning than receiving.
1 minute max per question.
1 minute max question. Okay. We're going to be here a while.
Good evening. My name is Dan Williams, and I live at 1723 Carricare Drive. My question is to Debbie. Okay, my question is for Debbie. Okay? Debbie, during the 2024 Meet the Candidates Night, you displayed a character to the audience and the candidates. You also demonstrated your demeanor, personality, and attitude through hateful and targeted online postings. The board of director, President Les Pendleton, described you as someone who would rather argue than talk with you. That's his words, not mine. When you made application to the board of directors, I was informed.
This is a speech, or is this a question, please? This is a question. Not a minute there,
How do you explain your behavior to the membership to convince them you're not argumentative, combative, and divisive candidates your friends and others have described you as?
I'm really not very argumentative. If most people know me, they know I do everything I can to keep from laughing when somebody comes at me with something that I find actually kind of aggressive. So for me to come across as aggressive, I really have to work on it. Sorry, if that's not the answer you're looking for, it's just the truth.
Bill Hewitt, 1215 Petite Terre Court. My question is to you as well, Debbie. You touted your experience as a insurance agent, okay? 23 years, I believe that you said, okay, that you've gotten involved in redoing some of the insurances, saving $30,000. Thank you very much for that. Okay, but my question goes to, you got involved because you believe that, or from your experience, managers have been taking advantage of agents, okay? We know that they get paid, you guys got paid on commission. Did you take advantage of managers in the past? And in redoing the insurance, was anything involved with one of your insurance companies? Just yes or no answer, please.
Actually, there's no truth in what you said. I'm going to answer this. You pretty much just accused me of something very unethical, and I'm going to respond so you can listen to me. I have not rewritten any policies. I've met with the agent that's handled this account for years. I've gone through the policies. I've made sure there was no duplication whatsoever, and I have not made a penny. I have done this as a board of directors. Insurance agent, I've done it 28 years and never been accused of anything unethical, Mr. Hewitt. So thank you for the question, and we'll clear that up right away.
Yes or no will suffice.
Yes or no doesn't suffice when you accuse me of an ethical breach.
This is not a debate, folks. One question.
Charlie Jump, 6203 Albatross Drive. My question's for each of the candidates, all of the candidates. If elected, would you stand for the board of directors changing the bylaws without giving notice to the community?
I'll go ahead and go first. Just kind of a blanket answer to that. There's a process to changing bylaws. I'm not exactly sure the exact process for doing it. Notification to the community before we hold a meeting where we are going to make a motion on changing a bylaw, I believe has to be an open meeting. I don't know. I'll go back and research that. Transparency, though, I'll tell you, anything that's going to lead to changing a bylaw, if I was on the board and I was a board member once again, I would share the information that I have with you first thing. Just ask.
Yes. I personally would like to see us review all of the bylaws, and then that way we wouldn't be having these discussions anymore.
would you?
One question, one answer, sorry.
That's not the answer. Answer is yes or no.
She didn't answer.
Is she going to allow the
We're
public?
not in a debate situation, folks.
Is she going to stand for the board making decisions without notifying?
You're asking me, I'm not
You're telling me that's not the answer to the question.
following the procedures. So I'm trying to do, so it's fair to everybody.
Yeah, honestly, no, I'm gonna answer your question for you. It's about a vote. I don't know what the process requires a vote, doesn't require a vote. If the process requires a vote, there would be a vote.
Yes, I would. I could explain that our bylaws only allow a positive vote, supermajority, 5 votes of the board of directors to change the bylaws. We, as unit owners, do not have that right. And so, yes, I would move immediately to establish a bylaws revision committee to work for all the bylaws, bring them up to date, but definitely to change the bylaw back to what it was, the 50.1% on a recall vote.
All right.
I can be glib with what he said.
What he
And a
said.
little bit further, every board meeting should be properly noticed, period, in this discussion.
I've looked at various HOAs and POAs within North Carolina, and it's pretty common that there's a supermajority, and I will follow the supermajority. Thank you.
My name's Dave Phipps. Good evening. I live on a couple of sports, and I have a question for each of the candidates.
Can't hear.
I have a question for each of the candidates. It's a yes or no question. Please answer yes or no. Would you agree with the following statement? As we elect directors, it's not about their resumes, work histories, titles, or slogans. It's whether their behavior demonstrates humanity, patience, the ability to listen, and the willingness to build consensus and search for common ground. Yes.
My answer is yes.
That's a hard answer, yes or no, but I'll say yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, I like face-to-face interactions, as you say, and I like consensus.
I didn't even hear that.
Yes.
Yes, one goes hand in hand with the other.
Cheryl Hurd, 5416 Trade Winds. My question for Deb. Deb, can you explain how the land for the sign on Route 55 was paid for?
Yeah, there seems to be some misinformation out here that the land was bought for $111,000. In fact, the board traded it for a waterfront lot, even Stephen, it was just a paper transfer, period. The sign
I'm
was
sorry, what?
approximately $38,000, but there was no money transfer for the land.
What?
The lot the sign at the corner of 55 and Broad Street.
Yes.
There's a rumor going around that POA bought the land for $110,000.
Well, that's what they said they did, and it was in the budget.
Well, apparently that was for improvements on the land at the land itself.
To all the questions.
Okay.
candidates,
Okay.
will you submit tonight, you will follow the majority of the homeowner's position that the offices should not be moved to the new clubhouse. The present location is outside the gate, secure and convenient to all sections of the community.
Unless it's a majority vote that's taken, can't tell you yes or no. And I don't know if that's an option to hold a vote on that.
We're of the opinion that any vote can be taken for any issue of the members. I believe that the offices are in best, most accessible, most secure, easiest to visit location they can be in. I would support staying where they are. I would also support the vote of the members.
Absolutely, my opinion is that the offices were properly located when they were first established there. When we came down, we had no idea where we were going, and the sign in the office was easily located. They're secure, I've been there, they're clean, they're spacious. There's no need to move them. I think they're properly located.
Okay, so I've been inside the new clubhouse. It's a magnificent building, and I look forward to the opening. Now, the community has invested significant amount of money in that building. Why would you not want people in there to make sure that it's properly run, it's looked after, maintained, and taken care of security-wise? I think it just makes sense that the staff be located there, then we don't have to pay staff, additional staff to look after this magnificent building. And I think it's a wise move that will be moved there. In addition to that, there have also been problems with the staff feeling unsafe where they are now, and I think they should be safely within this particular building, taking care of it on our behalf.
I'm going to address this from two ways. From an insurance standpoint, and I'm going to make this clear, I've written homeowners insurance for strictly HOAs, POAs, condominiums, and apartment complexes for 28 years. So I'm pretty well versed in how vacant building insurance works. There's no difference in premium, but if that office is not maintained with live bodies in there, then we will have coverages removed, one of which will be sprinkler leakage. There's going to be sprinklers in that building, and without someone in there overseeing it, you could well be in trouble with water damage. My second is the POA offices. There's a waiting list of people looking to rent them, so that could actually be a revenue generating asset.
No. What? There's a waiting list for people to rent the office space?
I think we'd both like to see that.
I would love to see that list. You agree with me.
My question is to Lynn Wayne.
What?
I'm a golfer. I'm glad to hear that you're saying you're not.
Do you have a
opposed to golf
list?
course.
Are you on the list to rent the building? You are? Okay, love that.
And you're not going to sell
Oh my
the
God.
golf course or the restaurant?
Ridiculous, no.
No. And you would sign a document saying that you would resign from the board if you ever voted to sell or close the restaurant?
No.
No, darling.
No, dear.
No, dear.
No, dear. No, Wayne.
Actions are stronger than words. That's all I'm asking.
My word and my bond is my honor.
Well, the sign.
And I do not foresee a situation where that would be necessary.
Then why not sign it? I know there is. I know there is.
Okay, calm down. One question.
Are you part of the agri side?
Wow.
Debbie, in your view, does there come a point at which the community at large should have approval authority for large financial expenditures or the sale of community property? Actually, thank you for that question, because this is something Neil and I both agree upon. As our budget gets larger, 15% becomes a much bigger number. We don't feel that there should be a limit as to how much money the board would be able to expend on their own without going to the community. Right now, we would probably throw out about $1 million max for the project. What was your other question?
Cut that number in half and we'll
Mm.
For the sale of community property. Depends on what you're talking about for community property. If you're talking one lot to put up for sale, then no, I don't think that needs to go. But if you're talking about the 55 acres, I think that's something that we've all pretty much decided needs to be a community issue. And I don't think any of us are looking to do anything with that property, to be perfectly honest with you.
Will you sign a paper?
Yeah, I'll sign a paper too, and I'm gonna say this on my name. If I say something, it's just like signing my name, I think this would jump.
Okay, I'm gonna step in here. I'm gonna be the moderator for the two teams that are running up here. No, that's what this is all becoming, and this is why the board has a hard time helping the community get community pulled together because of the divisiveness because of this. So I'm gonna moderate, because that's what I'm gonna, if I do end up getting on the board, I will have to moderate between the board members once they're on there.
I'm sorry, that's not your role. You're up there to answer questions.
Oh my gosh.
We can make a
Wow.
I'd like to hear from Neil, from his own mouth, not from Debbie. If he thinks the community at large should have approval authority.
Microphone, please. No,
Wow. He's not letting her re-ask the question.
No one is obligated to answer any question. If they don't choose to answer it, then they're not going to.
If they choose not to answer the question, they don't have to answer.
Again, please, so I get it completely straight.
She's asking it again.
Can you give her the mic so we can hear it? We can't hear the question. I couldn't hear that.
I
So your comments point at which
Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Wow.
How about the other one? How about the other one?
Just you're taking up time. Yes, Pat.
go forward.
Cuffer and stuffer.
Wow. Wow.
The question as I understand it, may I go ahead and answer?
We didn't hear the question.
She has to moderate.
She asked all four of them, 5 of them. Hey, Pat, why don't you
Quiet,
step up
please.
and hold the
One person at a
microphone?
time. If any of the candidates would like to respond, they may so, do so. 1 minute, please.
Thank you.
The question as I understand it is there a limit at which the community should be allowed to vote on a major expenditure? In my opinion, yes, there is. The current bylaws are worded very badly because it has to be an unbudgeted expenditure that surprises the board. Your current situation is your board can budget $1 million for future expansion, line item in the budget. They can pass that without a vote of the members. Then if they get surprised and want to spend more, you have to come back. But you don't get a vote on the budget. The current limit is probably workable if we treat it as a total expense. Our commonly held green space should not be sold, rented, leased, or otherwise encumbered, period.
When I spoke earlier about revising the bylaws, this is another example, as Leah said, where it's confusing. It could be this, it could be that, it's the way you want to interpret it. Yes, there should be a limit, but it's your vote. It should come to you for any of these major expenses. That is our platform.
I guess my position is that if there's any major capital expenditure, and what we're going to do at the end of this, we're going to give you a brochure on our position. In addition to the 15%, $1 million threshold, which would require a vote by the community on that particular expenditure. What we intend to do is put out a 5 to 10 year capital expenditure plan, which will be transparent to everybody, and which you will find that we'll work towards as goals, and you'll be able to see what expenditure is planned, and therefore you can examine that and decide which way you'd like to vote on that particular expenditure.
Oh, thank you all for stepping up. Choice is nice. Mark Hidner, I live on 5214 Buckle Reef Road. I have a simple yes or no question. As, if you're elected, or even if you're not, would you support a membership vote on any change to a bylaw?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with this one, our bylaws say right now.
Yes or no, please?
There is no yes or no, sir, our bylaws say.
Yes, there is.
Okay, then
Ask me yes or no question.
All right, let's calm down, there's no debate, please. Thank you.
Our bylaws right now say that bylaws can only be changed by the board of directors. To answer a question like that, I personally would want legal advice.
Okay, that's going to cost us more money.
I am not a lawyer, but if we do have the budget revision committee, we will go through all the bylaws. Excuse me, that's his thing. He wants a finance committee. The bylaws committee, we will go right through them and change it. And then, yes, not only will it include a vote on the change bylaws by the owners, we will submit all those changes to you, the owners, to operate under those bylaws now. It'll be the first time that the board has given up that much authority back to you, the owners.
Yes. Our bylaws currently can be revised by a vote of the board. I would challenge the board, whether I'm elected or not, to revise the bylaws so that future changes can be approved by a vote of the membership.
Yeah, I agree.
My name is Scott Malcolm, and I lived here about a year now. When I moved in, or when we moved in, we met our neighbors almost immediately, and we've had really good luck and good neighbors. I've met in this year people on both sides of the aisle, and to a man, I have found wonderful people. But obviously, there's a rift. Now, Chris, in your opening statements, you talked about harmonious community. I had the opportunity to read some beacons from years ago, and what that showed, those beacons, was a thriving, harmonious community. But you said in your statement that the board can't do that. So my question is to each one of you, do you actually believe that the board cannot or can affect a harmonious community?
Can.
I can't say yes or no, but I can promise you I will do everything in my power and every asset that I have
available to me to affect the harmonious community. That is one of my biggest goals.
Yes, we truly believe that this can be a harmonious community.
Agreed.
It begins with listening. It begins with listening to all the 2,800 unit owners, and then acting upon the majority consensus of whatever it is. That means giving back to you the right to decide, to vote. You vote on the matters, the money, the amenities, everything that's affecting the community should have a vote from the community. Once the people vote, the matter is settled. It's not 5 people on the board of directors deciding for 2,800 lot owners.
The board not only can affect the unity and thriving nature of the community, the board is responsible for it. It starts with clear, open, full communication of our finances, of the details of transactions, and it ends with full membership participation, not only in votes, but in the actions and the committees
Wow.
to build this community.
You're not hearing the live stream?
My viewpoint is that the community, the board can't do it on its own. The board needs the community, and the community needs the board. There's a symbiotic relationship there. I've experienced having participated in a men's coffee group in Villas Restaurants in Newburn every Tuesday morning. Where there's a group of 11 people from 11 different churches that come together for the sole purpose of unity in the community. And we've been doing that now for 5 years, praying to the community and engaging with the community. So there's some experience there. So to foster this unity, I'd like to mention a few things. Schedule community-wide regular events that encourage participation, starting with our 4th of July parade. I'd like it to be the best ever. Organize volunteer events for planting and beautification days. Focus more on veterans and first responders, especially for the Marines' 250th birthday. I'd like to enhance new residents' welcome program to include a presentation about the community, a Gold Cup tour, etc. So we have plans.
Thank you. This board, 8 months ago, put together a committee called an advisory committee. It's made up of volunteers in the community. They've picked their own members. They meet twice a month. They're meeting with community members to come in, talk to them, tell them what they think the board needs to be looking at. They come back to us with reports, and we are doing our best to address these issues. We did the same thing with the restaurant. We set up a restaurant advisory committee. Bob Rudy is on that with me. We're working with Jennifer, and we're doing the best that we can to try to come up with a reasonable operation plan for the restaurant where more people will be happy with it and enjoy their time.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is David Stack, and I live at 109 Argosy Drive. I've lived here 3.5 years now. And my question is for Mr. Anderson. In your video at the FA Cup fundraiser at the Red Tails Park in April this year, you insinuated Fairfield Harbour is in financial trouble. That video was removed. Our current treasurer refuted your accusation on a detailed statement on Facebook. Lee Fawcett sent out an apology letter for you. If elected, what new financial approaches would you propose the POA adopt?
Lee sent out a clarifying letter on what I said. The actual number that I was speaking about having was 819,000 in a reserve point in the audit. Also going through the convoluted financial reports that I had, there was a zero balance on the cash at the end of the year. And And that motion that I said was from the treasurer. I had the two combined.
I understand there
which
may
I
not
should
be
have.
any voice,
But I did.
noise,
In my mind, I was saying,
audio.
if we had money
I'm gonna go
left
try to
there,
fix that.
at the end of 2024 fiscal year, we didn't have.
Hmm.
Thank you. May I? Wayne might have misspoken. He might have gotten confused. I put out a letter that said he might have misspoken. Then I stopped playing gotcha on Facebook. It was counterproductive. When the new reports came out, I challenged Kevin, our treasurer, to publish the new reports and prove us wrong, and I promised to apologize. I read the new reports. I don't have a reason to apologize yet. I'm sorry. What would I suggest? I would suggest we start with a real audit.
Excuse me, Mark Bradley, 129 Hart.
Say something like that, I'm really sorry. But we just had an audit, literally within a matter of months ago, just had a full audit done, sir. I sat right through that audit meeting at the finance meeting, yes, sir, I absolutely did. I think
This isn't a debate.
Yeah, but I absolutely did, and I read the audit, thank you.
Mark Bradley, 129 Argosy. Some of you already more or less given us your commitment to the open space in this community. This is to each and every one of you. Would you be willing to put in the bylaws to protect the open spaces from development?
Absolutely.
Woo!
You know, I don't wanna see it developed either, but I do wanna see something done with it, but I don't wanna see houses on it, if that answers your question.
No.
So I'm not pro selling any land we own, except the vacant lots. I'm not pro building any houses on the vacant area either. But however, that area may be needed for things such as perhaps we want to build a sports center, a dog park, frisbee golf game. So, small things that benefit the community. We must use the space productively, so the community benefits from it, maybe some outdoor sports equipment. So we need to use that area productively and for the convenience of the community. And we need to do things such as beautification of that particular area as well. I'd like to see that as well, as I mentioned in our plan.
All we can vote on it.
We have survey monkey, she says. A survey is not a vote. That's right.
Do you agree with the bylaw, the board's change in the bylaws requiring 67% majority of all property owners to recall a director? Considering in the history of Fairfield Harbour, we've never had any election where 67% of the eligible voters participated.
Yes, I support that provision completely, to remove that 67%. I understood you to ask, would we support changing it? So yes, I would support changing it. When you had your last recall, which was probably the most contentious election we've had, you had about 1,200 people voting.
53.2 people voted in favor. Percent.
Definitely, I would be in favor of changing that immediately.
I'm not doing it to vote for them. If we need to change it back to what it was, our board needs to be held accountable, the 50%. We need to be held accountable. And I agree.
So to leave it as 50 plus 1 is encouraging turbulence and instability within the board.
Okay.
This is why, and it's very important that you don't have a situation where it's too easy to remove them. You have to strike a balance, and that's not too difficult. So I support the supermajority because it's common in HOAs, especially when you have a big one like ours. You have to not have instability. We've had enough of chaos and instability. Supermajority is a common thing. It's not unique.
Okay. Wait, Neil, you have a counterpart.
I am specifically named on this lawsuit, Susan Deborah Harris, for that 67% change. I absolutely will not even get involved in this one.
Hi, I'm Bob Reeder, 2040 Royal Pines Drive. No question for each of you. Simple question. What's the first thing you hope to accomplish when you become a board member?
The motion's already been made and tabled to cancel the move of the offices. I'd like to bring that back on the table. I'd like to vote to cancel the move of the offices. Job 2 would be to get a good understanding of our financial situation. I contend we don't have one right now, and any plans to spend money without knowing where we're starting are a fantasy.
I would move to take off the table, bring it onto the table, the motion to sell 25 acres of the open space for housing development, patio homes. I would bring that up and vote it down and get rid of it completely so we would never sell any of the property on the open space, especially for housing like that.
Mm-hmm. Great job.
Okay, so my first objective would be to improve communication in the harbour. I have a 15-point communication plan, starting with an audit. And that audit will determine whether your contact details are correct. And with that audit, you'll get a tick box sheet where you determine how you would like to be informed, how you would like to be contacted. And then there will be various forums introduced in order for the community to connect more and to be improve the communication between the board and the community and to increase communication within the community as a whole. So that you're far better informed and so that you know exactly what's going on. I've seen and met many people who don't read the weekend, don't read the emails. So we have to find a way, if we have to find a carrier pigeon or a letter or send somebody to go see you and discuss what's going on, that will be your preference. But I will make a determined effort to improve communication.
I think I'd like to go back to making the beacon a tool for the board and then start taking some of the history of some of the issues that we're dealing with right now, like the $300 in our dues towards the Harbor Club, so we could start putting some truthful information out there and getting facts out to members, especially new people here that are getting fed a lot of stuff that I can't even figure out where it's coming from.
My first priority, if I get elected back on the board, is to number one, bring cohesiveness to the board. So the board can work together rather than opposing oppositional standings within the board, so we can communicate better with our community and function better, supporting our community and doing what needs to be done for our community.
Hi, I'm Mary Swan. I'm at 5018 Buffalo Ridge Road. And this question actually is for Wayne. You're supported by Dan Ritter and the F-Helpers, I know that. And they're serving our community. So my question to you is, if you're elected, will you be supporting the board, the POA board, in the lawsuit, or Dan Ritter and F-Helpers?
Yes, we are. Both Lee and I are supported by a big stop. We are also supported by a very esteemed group of former presidents and directors. And we're supported also by the Hands Across the Harbor organization. And others, facts, supports us also. The matter of the lawsuit is in the courts now, and my position is that's where it belongs, and let it stay there and come to resolution. But thank you for asking that question.
Great job.
I was sitting in the blast zone for that question, I'd like to respond to it. Wayne and I have both met with the elders, past board members and past board presidents. It doesn't make us qualified to be one of them. I've met with our fire chief prior to deciding whether to run. Does not make me a fireman. We've met with many, many groups and many, many individuals, and it's our job to listen to them. We believe in that. We think it's important. As Wayne said, the suit is in the courts. It's probably going to be resolved by the time we get into office. If not, then we need to review with council and map a plan to go from there.
King,
I just missed the most important question.
You didn't miss much.
Defining the responsibilities and powers of directors of a corporation. Can you tell us about any such law which may exclude one or more directors from access to their corporation's documents, such as its contracts, its past records, financial records, etc.?
Ma'am? I've read 47F pretty carefully. I've skimmed 55A. I haven't seen anything in either of them that would exclude any of the directors from access to the public records.
That's a comprehensive answer. I do have read 47F several times, the part side of things. But reading 55A is really a challenge, but I didn't see anything in there that relates to your question.
I can't see anything that will prevent the information being provided, unless, of course, it's confidential information about a lawsuit, maybe. And you're party to that?
What, I didn't hear the answer. We couldn't hear.
I said I can't see any situations where they will not have access to that kind of information. If they are a board member, then they could have access to board records, of course. Unless, of course, they are part of a lawsuit. And there may be issues,
that are party to a
there may be issues pertaining to the lawsuit that they don't have access to. I don't know, I'm not part of the lawsuit, I haven't been part of the last board, but ordinarily you shouldn't have problems accessing information. I too have read 47 and 55, it's not entirely against you getting access to information.
We're grandfathered in, we don't, all of 47 and 55A do not apply to us, and I cannot understand what does, what doesn't. It actually takes a legal mind to figure that out. But as far as documents, I've been on the board 9 months. I've not yet asked for one thing that I haven't been given access to. I'm not on the legal ad hoc, however. That is consisting of 2 members per the request of the attorney, and that is not abnormal for a board like this to have an ad hoc and not have everybody involved.
Conrad Weiser. I would just like to say that I hear a lot of dissension in this room. However, I don't hear that in the community properly. And I've been around this community a lot. I don't think people are, to me, I'm from New York, coming down here and moving into Fairfield Harbour, I felt like I died and went to heaven. And I've heard those exact words from hundreds of other people. And I just wanted to say that. Also, I just wanted to give, we've gotten this letter around, and I just wanted to give from Lee, from Les. Everybody's gotten one. I wanted to give you an opportunity to dispute anything that was in there. That was in
The whole thing.
Still do it. They don't know.
I can't answer your question in a minute. I'll comment that the 4 pages 4-page letter. I've read it. I've read it twice. It's a very nicely written letter. The punctuation is good. The sentence structure is good. The paragraphs are clean and brief. And it's written by a guy that writes fiction for a living.
I have to admit, I knew that was coming. 4 pages from the current president to all the residents, attacking some candidates, supporting others, in my humble opinion, was inappropriate.
Yes. Okay.
They don't want to answer.
They don't want to answer the rest.
My name is Kevin Heidel. I live at 5904 Gondolia Drive, and I am the treasurer, and I have been for the last year. Right? I've now heard Lee up here, okay, basically trashing, okay, what I have done. All right? So no, I'm getting my time.
No, it's a question.
Hi, I'm Corporal Pedro, Crane County Sheriff's Office, hate to cut you off, sir. I'm supposed to be here to keep social unrest at peace, so please, if it's not a question, don't ask it, don't say it. I don't want to kick anybody else out. I don't enjoy doing that. I want to be here for everybody, so please, let's just maintain order and peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy James.
All right, like I said, I am the treasurer, all right, and for the audience, I'm sure, okay, that you can turn around and say, okay, that I've given
Yes.
more financial information.
And we gotta ask if you have a question.
Okay, I'll ask a question. Do you believe that 30% of the community should control this whole community?
No, it was 53 plus 1.
Do I believe that 30% of the community should control the community? No. A majority of those voting should have say over what this community does.
That's
No, a majority of those voting. The way the 67% resolution is structured, it's a majority of those eligible to vote. It's a very different number. I'm not going to argue percentage with you.
Sorry, babe.
One question.
Hi, I'm Cindy Telegraphy, 2106 Royal Pines Drive, and I have one question for Ms. Harris. But your bio states that you're an insurance expert, that you should, you save $30,000 in insurance for the new building. Surely then you are aware that our POA board is insured against lawsuits with only a $25,000 deductible. Yet you and 4 board members voted to assess each of the 2,800 property owners an amount which would raise $140,000, far in excess of what you claimed you had the funds to pay for. $9 was spent. So why did you vote to raise all this money? Which you didn't need?
Okay, for one thing, our deductible is 15,000, not 25, and that's
even better.
Yeah, when I do this for a living, it's 15,000. Okay, so let me answer your question, we'll just stop. Our legal budget is way over what we had budgeted, what our expenditures are. Because over the past year, we have been pinged one after another, after another, after another by legal letters that have had to go to our attorney. things that you're not aware of. If you talk to Mr. Ritter and some of his staff people, I'm sure they can give you the information.
We're not talking about
Ma'am,
Don
if
Ritter.
you're talking about our legal, this is where we spend our money. I've answered you, that's where we spend our money.
No.
It's on letters that we have received. Ma'am, we are over $100,000 beyond our budget.
And every one of those letters pertains to this lawsuit, nothing else?
We have legal bills that we've gotten hit with because of FH stop, ma'am.
Okay, no debates here. There's one question, one answer, thank you.
I'm sorry, it's not the answer you want, it's the truth though.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm Frank McIntyre, I'm on Coral Reef Drive, I'm on Team Happy Hour. I got a question about the Host of America, and I'm sure it's going to be a two-part question. First one, you probably won't be able to answer unless you're on the board and actually have access to the contract. What is the POA and homeowners? What are we on the hook for them? They came in, they spent millions of dollars, and if they get a couple hundred subscribers, that's really going to cover them. Second part, POA gets $25 per subscription. Is that ethical? And would you stop that if you become a board member?
I'm the only one on the board, so I'm gonna answer the question. Number one, this is not costing anybody here a penny. Hosted America came in and did it on their own with the hopes that people would sign up and we will be their customer. In every package that we sign up for, $20 is given back to the POA that can be used any way we want to use it. So we can use it to keep the dues down. I have Hosted America. I'm one of the tribal people. It's working great, but I wouldn't advise everybody get it if it's not something you want, but it actually is good for the community.
I thought that.
I'm not on the board, but I'm in agreement with you. I don't know what the contract says. And if I was on the board, I would probably try to get more information out about what we are on the hook for, what we might be on the hook for as one of your neighbors and a homeowner out here. That's what I would be looking for, and that's what I would probably be advocating for with the board.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
No.
Don Moore.
No.
Stop it. So Don Moore, the contract, I would suggest you talk with Don Moore.
Don's not here right now.
Well, he's one of them.
So you're pointing fingers at Don Moore.
The
Okay.
answer to your question is no, I haven't had the opportunity to read the contract. I believe the board should take on the task of reviewing the contract themselves and put out to the community a clear, crisp summary of that contract. If there's only a very small part of that contract that's confidential, that piece should be redacted and the whole thing should go out.
Okay.
Rich Edwards, 6104 Castleton Court. I would like to get a pledge from each of the candidates here tonight, and it's basically about civility, okay? I was given an envelope, all right, that we got in the mail from FH Stop, and I'm going to show it to everybody, and everybody in the hall here, you can come up to me and take a good look at it, okay? The civility thing is this, okay? This stuff that goes on here, okay, and a lot of people think FH Stop was developed for the Fairfield Harbour, Save the Open Properties. Okay?
That's right,
It's
Save
not
the Open
Stoppers.
Properties.
That was nicknamed by a few and on this past letter. But I would like to show you.
Richie, is there a question?
Yes,
Okay.
I want a pledge that this kind of civility, you know, needs to change, that we need to come together as a community. And I will gladly show everybody here this thing here, and it also says that, expect a counter protest May 17th. See you then. That's, you know.
We're expecting a counter protest May 17th.
And trying to disrupt it.
Richie, I haven't seen that document. The only word on there that I could see and make out from up here was not polite in this company.
In any company.
I will just say, as a prospective board member, I totally condemn all actions like that.
I'd like to ask a question, and it's not to any of the candidates. Is that allowed? Okay, then I will ask candidates, and you can all listen. Why are all of us being so unkind to each other? If somebody came up to you and talked to you to your face, the way that you have talked to these people tonight, you would be in tears. What are you going to do to make sure that that doesn't happen? You can't do it. We can, and we're not doing it, and that's our own fault. We are all responsible for that, and we better get it right. This should not be the way that this community is run.
We're neighbors.
And we are all responsible, and we need to take responsibility.
Michael Connolly, I live at 1107 Fairfield Harbour. This question is for all board members, and I'd like you to each answer. Please give me your estimate of how the POA has managed this community over the last 2 years.
Correct. You have board candidates, not board members, as you said, board members. Okay.
The answer to your question is it's hard. It's hard to answer your question because we've had so little real information that's been officially published by the board. I would like to say I think they've done a pretty good job. I just can't tell.
I got into
No, you're fine, dear.
basically because of the way this community was managed by the board for the last couple of years. There wasn't the need for all of this unrest, this instability, actual hostility. One vote, way back when the two directors were removed and the pulse of the community was out there. The board could call for a vote. $8,000, they were going to have it anyway on the clubhouse. They did it then, all of this would have been put to bed, one way or the other.
Okay, so I'd like to briefly summarize what I've seen in the past period. I've seen a magnificent year, a magnificent clubhouse being built. I've seen golf pathways renewed and redirected, so it's beautiful too, because I run and I cycle. Beautiful pathways. I've seen the marinas rebuilt. I've seen the harbour wall rebuilt. I've seen the sunken dredger taken up. I've seen a lot of construction and money spent on upgrading our facilities. So that's what I have seen.
there because of timeshares are having difficulty. We had to go into a foreclosure arrangement with them. So to start off, we didn't have $100,000 in anticipated dues. We ended this year with a $30,000 in the black number, and we managed to do all the work we needed to do without raising the dues. So I'd say that's a pretty good accomplishment, getting everything that we have managed to do.
I'm gonna come at this a little bit different because I have a little bit of an advantage because I was on the board, not 2 years ago, but just over 3.5 years ago. I haven't been off the board that long. And my reaction to that is the actions of the board in the last 2 years, the only word I can use to describe it is disheartening. They've done good, and they've done things that I don't agree with, and it's been disheartening to me, but it's how it's been handled and how it's been conveyed to the community. That needs to be worked on.
Thank you. My name is Rich Miller. I live at 5913 Santa Road. Last year, I asked one question of the 4 candidates. It was, are you in favor of building the Harbor Club? And what would it do to the property value? All 4 answers from the candidates was that, yes, they were in favor of building the Harbor Club. And that included Chris Barajas and Don Moore. In the vote that we had in June to fund the Harbor Club with a loan that offered from the bank, it was a 5-2 vote. There was also a vote for Wemco to be the contractor. Again, it was a 5-2 vote. The dissenting votes were Barajas and Moore. Why were they told to change their vote?
Why would they know that?
I'm going to start by answering that question. We don't know. We weren't sitting on the board then. I don't know if Debbie was sitting on the board then. She doesn't know. But to your first point, when I was on the board, I've always been in favor of a harbor club. I don't know if I'm in favor as to the existing harbor club, and how it's set up and everything. I don't know how they arrived at that decision, but I will find out if I get back on the board, and we'll deal with it going forward.
We have it. We should honor it. We should use it proudly. It is a fantastic asset to this community. That said, it's been said 3 times in public, in the board meetings, that thank God we took the last 2 years of dues increases that were processed for the Harbor Club and put them against projects like dock refurbishment, etc., because we didn't have it do it otherwise. It's been said out loud in the board 2 or 3 times. I won't argue the veracity of it.
I am the treasurer when we.
How about shutting him up?
Still not going to
How
argue.
about comments?
Well, if I'm wrong, I'll just commit that I will not ever support or vote for the community borrowing 100% of any project.
Great job.
What question?
You tell us, but not them.
I'm Kathleen Monroe. I live on Santa Lucia with my mother. I moved here 3 years ago. I was following on the gentleman with the letter that was covered with nasty remarks. I figured I'll go on Facebook. I'm more aligned with Fairfield Harbour, so it's properties. perspective on transparency.
Sorry, dear.
Community involvement on major projects.
So you're fine, Charlie.
That says, hey, you're clearly doing
Go back to rate. Give you a discount.
with the POA address as a return address. The only question that I would like to ask or pledge that you all, whoever is on the board, if somebody's got something to say to me, I'm gonna say it to my face, and I've been very polite on Facebook, I am not nasty, I just say it. So, along with that, gentlemen, the fact that that stuff is going on.
You have my pledge.
And mine. My name is.
So I've been very clear from my opening statement, I'm against bullying of any kind. I'm against harassing a good man, such as our treasurer, who is being harassed by people sitting over here. I don't believe in any kind of bullying in that regard, especially on Facebook is required. And I will always do my little bit to prevent this kind of bullying.
Kathleen Monroe, I'm married to a recovering alcoholic, so I absolutely never condone that kind of behavior towards anyone that's trying to help themselves get better.
Okay, my name is Sandy Brexler, and I live at 6303 Avenue. And my question is for Wayne and Lou. In 2021, two people who openly support you were on the board. Irv Joffrey was the president, and Doug King was an appointed director. The POA board, led by Joffrey, voted 6 out of 7 to increase our dues $100 for the next 3 consecutive years, 2022, 23, and 24. Neither of you lived here when that vote and approval occurred. How was that decision explained to you and by whom?
Never was explained to me. It was presented to me that here are the dues. That's it. My background is POA board, treasurer, I try to go to some board meetings, and they aren't now.
They were.
And it was impossible for me to get to a board meeting, so I'm not going to comment on that beyond that. If there was a vote to increase the dues $500, I bought into it because I was told, here's the dues amount, that's it, I'm paying it.
No, it's $100 for 3 consecutive years. And there was a reason for that.
Okay.
The same with us, that when we came in here, we knew there had been consecutive increases. Obvious, but it wasn't explained for what. However, and I don't know if it was a budget meeting or an annual meeting, Kevin explained that that money was in preparation to pay for the clubhouse. But because of the delay in starting construction, they used it to put in the long delayed dock repairs, replacements, the bulkheads, and the pavement.
Come on.
No, nobody knows why. They moved in after it was approved. Sit down, Sandy Sutton. All right.
Doug King, 5504 Gondolier. Probably longer than you want to listen to. Now, my question. Everyone's in favor of transparency. Everyone's in favor of civility. Everyone's in favor of these things, except I'll give an example of further back in time, because that may be not quite picking at such a recent move. In September 2024, the POA board published a statement that delays caused by FA stop safety open property. And they put it up on $58,000 in construction as well. The fact is there was no building permit. A month later that they had gotten a building permit just then. Now,
Just slow down, we can't understand you. I can't understand you.
In September 2024, there was a statement published by our POA board that FH Stop had caused delays, and they attached a number value to that delay, $58,000, pretty specific. The fact is, there was no, she asked me to repeat the question.
I did, I couldn't understand it.
Okay, and I apologize for speaking quick, I was trying to get through. The fact is, there was no building permit issued yet at that time, when they blamed the delay on FH Stop. Now, if you were a sitting director, when this kind of thing happened, what would you do in the name of transparency?
That's so easy. I'm gonna look at Mr. Bill Joshua, who's right in front of me, and ask him to please explain it. Because I don't know the answer, but I do know that the gentleman in charge of the Harbor Club construction would know it.
He's not here for candidates night.
But I always go to the Swiss to get an answer. I don't gossip on Facebook.
So there's a building construction committee that was formulated for that, and that's the type of question that should be put to them regarding that issue.
You know how to reach me, I can explain it very easily.
If I was on the board and I was aware of that information and I questioned that information, I would do, as a board member and a fiduciary, my due diligence to find out the facts behind it, and then try to get out whatever information you were allowed to the public on that matter.
I pretty much agree with Bob, but I will comment that in the state I moved here from, it's a felony to create a reserve for a project and then, without a vote of the members, divert those funds to another project. It's been said in the board meetings more than once in my presence.
One of the problems that we have had with this board is information coming out, but without the details. A blanket statement that FH Stop action caused $58,000 worth of penalty, fine, piece of contract, when there wasn't even a building permit taken out. What action? What
Yeah.
would it cost? What were the fines? So again, it's the lack of information that we've been not given that's the problem.
Okay. What? We have two people.
Hi, I'm Craig Myler.
Sorry, guys.
This isn't an easy question. In fact, I think it's a real tough one. It's something that's been bothering me for some time, and I think I've heard out of each of you this evening, and acknowledging that we've got some real divide in this community. I'd like to hear from you. What caused or causes and is causing that divide? Not how we're going to solve it, but I mean, the first part of solving the problem is defining the problem. What's causing that divide?
I'd like to answer that. I think I answered part of your question earlier, and it's one of my goals, if I'm able to get back on the board, cohesiveness between the board members. With friction and divide within the board, the information that's going to get out from that is going to be divided. So that's part of the answer to the question. We've got the cohesiveness back within the board.
I'd like every one of you to answer. If you don't want to answer, please note I don't have an answer.
You won't like nobody here's gonna like my answer. I think there's a lot of rumors, a lot of gossip. People make stuff up. They go on Facebook and they make it sound like it's facts. And I sit while I'm working and read it, and sit there and read things about me and go, who the hell are they talking about? I think if people would get off Facebook and quit making stuff up, there would be such a nice community.
No.
So I think I've spoken on how we can heal this particular divide. I don't have any connections to previous boards, etc. But so in looking forward, we'll make a serious attempt to heal this divide. It's not going to be easy. A lot of reputation damage has been done to many people and to this part of this community of ours. I've seen some bad statistics, and that's as a result of that. I will do my level best to get this community back together, getting synergy amongst board members, and getting community involvement in as much as possible, maximizing the committees that we have. We have a lot of talented, smart people that we can harness to get this done.
Yeah.
What causes the divide? For once in my life, I agree with Dave. But it starts upstream of that. It starts with poor information, it starts with conflicting information, published by the board or not published by the board, as the case may be. You heard it in here tonight. What did we pay for the lot on 55? One opinion, two opinions, it was never published. How does that blow up on Facebook?
That's right.
You think that's bad? Here's the rest of the story. And it gets made up. And it gets made up. And it goes on. And the truth, plainly stated, will help undo that.
I believe the divide began probably in 2021. It was a new board, and 2021? Yes. And some directors had a special vision of what they wanted for Fairfield Harbour. They knew they had the authority, the power to do it, and then they went forward with it. Unfortunately, it wasn't explained properly to the entire community, and the community did not have a voice in the direction that they wanted this community to be. Hence, the lack of information, the working behind the scenes, the surprise announcements, everything coming out after the fact, with no voice from the community at large, caused a split.
Hi, I'm Gloria Hyder. I live on Buzzell Place, and I've been on the board for almost 10 years and been with you all through the floods and pandemics. My question is this, and I usually try to give the person the benefit of the doubt. Neil, you just said that you are not supportive of bullying. Yet, there's a video out there where you verbally accosted a resident. I don't care what the issue was, but you verbally accosted a resident. Can you defend that, and is that behavior worthy of being a director?
All right.
So I was waiting for that, because that incident was clearly set up.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, as a veteran, I explained how I appreciate the situation, I approach the situation, and in that particular situation, our aim was very, very simple. Simply to get my property back. Okay? What that video proves is the fact that that gentleman took my assignment that I paid for, I had a receipt. So I thought I'd be neighborly and simply for asking for my assignment back. However, what you don't see in the video is I escalated it. And I could easily have turned into a fight. Okay? I chose the path of least resistance, to not escalate it and to de-escalate it. I could have asked the sheriff to go get it back. I could have got a lawyer to get it back. I could have gone to their agent to get it back. You know, many things. I don't know what you would have done to get it back. But in my case, I went to ask him like a neighbor asks a neighbor. Sorry, I have to defend myself. It's an allegation. So, as a neighbor, I went to ask him for it. What he could have done is give it back. But instead, he threw it at me, which could have hurt me. And that's my reaction.
Cut it off, questions off.
ask me a question and I will answer. I wouldn't have put myself in that position and I wouldn't have attacked the residents. There are other ways to do it, like you said, and you should have taken that.
Wait, where did he go?
We're not gonna stay all night. We're not staying.
Where'd he go? Just speak loud.
She does. So, we're finished. Sorry,
No.
we're-
No. What? Nobody gave notice that we were done.
Make it work fast, because you now have 6 minutes to get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer's gone. You can see this motion is given to you. I'm guessing you don't like her, huh?
Good evening, my name's Lois Andrews, and this question is for Lee and Wayne. And I know that you are supported by FH Stop, so I assume you are also aligned with their agenda. So my question to you is, can you explain how these actions, particularly the lawsuits and opposition to ongoing projects, are helping a community save money and move forward rather than increasing costs and delaying progress?
I think you answered your own question in the beginning there. Yes, Lee and I are supported, as I said earlier, by FH Stop and other different groups in the community. We are endorsed individually and by name. That does not mean anything about us and our affiliation with them. It means that they are supporting us, just as everybody else has the right to do.
Moderator?
Yeah, we're
Just answer the question, Lee.
Can't hear you.
We're finished, folks.
I'm sorry, I get a minute yet.
Oh, you're still answering the question?
I haven't started yet.
Oh my God.
Push the button, let's go. It's pretty simple. I've met with Stop. We share some common goals. Openness, transparency, save the open property. When I met with Stop, and if you know some Stop members in here, we had a long discussion about it. I told them point blank, I didn't support the lawsuit. They supported me anyway. Because our vision and our goals, way forward, openness, transparency, complete information are the same. They chose a legal route to solve it. Wayne and I chose the democratic process.
Anybody else? Okay. That's it. Let's wrap it up here. Yes, so each candidate in the same order.
Hold on a second. They got a 2-minute wrap up. Hold on.
Whoever wants to start first, can we give her 2 minutes? Go ahead, Ben.
I'm gonna make it a short 2 minutes.
You're not
If you
dead.
noticed, I haven't been out on social media. I haven't aligned myself with any group. I have no people. I'm an independent person. I have been interviewed by multiple people in the group.
Sorry, babe.
I don't represent any specific narrative, any specific group. I represent the community, and this is to you out there that are gonna see this on the streaming video with YouTube that aren't here. And I'm gonna, this is to all of you here. I represent the community. I represent my neighbors, and I represent all of you. FH Stop, Harvard,
FH Go.
you know, the elders,
Yes.
whoever. I represent everybody. I don't take sides. I listen to everybody. And then I make my determination on how I'm gonna act as a board member. So if I'm elected as a
Sorry,
board
Craig.
member, that's how I'm gonna proceed.
that they're trying to work very hard for this community to be ostracized because they didn't do it the exact way someone else might have, or because the state laws in North Carolina are different than they are in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, or whatever it might be. Wherever my license is, the states are very different in their laws. One of the things that I think that this whole community needs to look at is doing away with all these signs, this team process, campaign managers. Go back to the old way where the guys I thought had a chance to get elected.
Oh, wow. All right. I think she just suggested we vote for Bob.
Thank you everybody for taking trouble to come here tonight. I really appreciate it, and thanks for all the good thoughts and words of encouragement that have come my way. Now, this area was originally called Treasure Cove, and for me, our residents in this community are actually the real treasure. There is only one thing on my agenda, and that's you. It was originally called Port Opine. You on my agenda, number one. Not power or control. We want your input. We want people to feel heard, but we also want to have an orderly process.
Have you ever seen the Minions movie?
I would like to close my message
All
by
I thought
quoting
one
the
day was
movie Jerry
talking was,
Maguire, where he says, "Help me,
and he
help you.
becomes the
Help
king.
me, help you."
Hate it when they don't know what's talking
I know,
about.
I know.
I'm sorry I've waited till this late in the program to thank Bob and Neil for their service to their country. Thank you both.
Yes. Great job.
So there you have it. Now go home and think about what you heard tonight. Make your own decision. When you've made your decision, talk to a neighbor. Tell them what your decision is. Share with them why you plan to vote the way you plan to vote. Why am I asking you to do this? Because this campaign and this election does not need to be won by a small margin. It needs to be a big margin. Either way, it needs to be a big margin. I'm going to say thank you to all the folks who supported us, especially the elders, and all the other concerned organizations who have supported and endorsed us. Thank you very much. Special thanks
It's
to
fine.
all the members and all the families
Yeah. No, you're fine.
who have supported us enough to put our campaign sign in their yard. I've noticed that our campaign signs generally are in front of houses with people in them. To all of you people in those houses, thank you for your support. I gotta say thank you to Joni, first Joni, and Barb, our two team captains. I'm sorry, Debbie, I'm not dropping them as part of my team. It ain't happening. The outpouring, I know, I'm used to not being listened to. I have to say the outpouring of support that's come from you has surprised and humbled me. Thank you.
All right. Take us home, Wayne.
Thank you all for your attendance and participation tonight. Lee and I sincerely hope that you have learned more about us and what we really stand for. In case you didn't get it, it's unity in the community. It's important that you have heard from us directly what we think about what's happened in the community and what we will do going forward. The ugly posts repeated ad nauseum from our opponents confirm that if elected, their divisiveness will continue. Change is necessary now. To reiterate, remember, we are running to involve each and every one of you, whether we agree with your opinion or not. We want you to get involved in the community. You will have a voice, a vote on a major issue. We will change the bylaws, as I've said, to make that work. No longer will only 5 directors decide the direction of this community. It is only common sense that a community of 2,800 people get a vote in major changes for the order. Yeah, I know look that way, I'm looking at that. Just remember one thing as you walk out of here. Lee and I, once we're on the board with Don and Chris, we will put the U back in unity.
Hey, stop, everybody, stop. Please sit down. Please, a couple of things first. Deputy Jay would like to say something.
It's been a pleasure working here tonight. Thank you so much for having me. I'm not biased. I congratulated all of our wonderful people who want this position. I just want to shed some light and some perspective. You saw me earlier escort out Mr. Barajas and his wife, his lovely wife. I know them personally. So as you can see, I can handle my job without animosity, with being prompt in my position, but also not being biased, prejudiced. Because I promise you that when we went out into that parking lot and I talked to them about the solace of my job, I hugged Ms. Barajas. And I still told both of them that I care about them. If I can do that in my official capacity as a law enforcement officer and still show kindred spirit in all that I do, then I ask you, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? If you want something that is attainable, you have to show effort and do it. Thank you.
We're very fortunate to have these young people serving this land for a couple of days.